So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the governor of the state of New Jersey, Phil Murphy.
Good morning, everybody. Honored to be here. Thank you, Pete, for your warm welcome and introduction, and through you to the tremendous team at New Jersey Future, starting with Executive Director Pete Kasabek, who I was just chatting with, and Missy and the whole team. Thank you for all of your dedication to envisioning not just the New Jersey we are, but that which we want to be. And if we all work together, which I believe with all my heart we truly can be. I also have to give a shout out to some of the other panelists and speakers today. I just caught the end of the last panel, so I saw Patterson there, Andre the Giant Sayed. So Andre, great to be with you. I know that South Orange Village President Sheena Cullum is with us today, Plainfield Mayor Adrian Mapp, Hanover Man Ron Francioli, West Windsor Mayor Hemant Morante, and Mayor Mike Soriano for Parsippany Troy Hill. So to each of you, you do an extraordinary job. I'm also particularly proud of those from our administration who are part of this conference, starting with the great team at EDA. You just heard from him up here, CEO Tim Sullivan, Vice President for Tech and Life Sciences Kathleen Coviello, Managing Director of Business Development Paul Seppi, Business Action Center CEO Melanie Willoughby, DEP Deputy Commissioner Debbie Mans, New Jersey Redevelopment Authority President and CEO Leslie Anderson, and Ariane Benry, Administrator of the Board of Public Utilities Community Solar Program. So to each and every one of them, I want to ask you to join me in giving them a shout out. This group proves, in my humble opinion, our administration's commitment to achieving the vision of a more sustainable future that is shared by everybody in this room. That's the stronger and fairer New Jersey that I have talked about since well before I took office. And before I continue, it is a particular honor for this, not once but the second time this week, to be joined by one of my heroes, Governor Jim Florio. Governor, honor to be with you. A stronger New Jersey is more resilient. It runs on clean energy and is home to thriving and dynamic downtowns, where people live and work in both new buildings and in historic ones repurposed for tomorrow. A stronger New Jersey has safe and reliable mass transit for people to get to school and work, and which serves as anchors for smartly developed communities. A fairer... Okay. Okay. No problem. No problem. I appreciate that. Bless you. We have. I appreciate that. This is a pesky little detail. We've laid out a 100% clean energy future for the state of New Jersey. I think more aggressive than any other state in America. We understand. Thank you. I hope you're protesting the governor of Oklahoma and Texas and other places. Let me talk about fairness, if I may. Thank you, ladies. A fairer New Jersey is not just stronger. A fairer New Jersey ensures that every single one of our 9 million residents has a place inside of this future. This future is what the budget I proposed on Tuesday responsibly invests in. This budget is a blueprint for a growing and more inclusive middle class and a more sustainable future. That's why this is a different kind of budget. Budgets are written for a given fiscal year, but we have to stop budgeting as if that fiscal year is the only thing that matters. Budgets are about our future. We have found ourselves in the hole we're in because we had forgotten that. Cuts to infrastructure and NJ Transit, for example, have had a negative long-term impact, and they are things that our future hinges on. Just think, if it had not been canceled, the ARC tunnel would now likely be open, adding much-needed capacity, not just for New Jersey, but for the entire Northeast corridor. So now we have to work harder, and Pete mentioned this in his remarks, we have to work harder with our congressional delegation and our neighbors across the Hudson to get Gateway funded. I'm frustrated, but I continue to be cautiously optimistic. New Jersey was asked to put a lot of skin in the game, and we have done that and more. Some of this project is in fact shovel-ready. The Portal Bridge Tunnel, which is one of the big elements of this, we're ready to go. The money is there, all the specs have been laid out, and I'm hoping sooner than later we can get there. And by the way, we don't have enough time this morning to discuss the state of the NJ Transit reality that our administration inherited. I have said that if it kills me, which it might, we will fix NJ Transit. And we are fixing it, right? Fund diversions may have helped prior administrations fill a budget hole in one place, but they opened up another elsewhere, a sort of fiscal version of whack-a-mole. One-time revenue fixes, or so-called one-shots, may inject enough revenues to get through a given year, but what about the next? So reducing one-shot revenues meaningfully is important to our overall long-term financial stability. For us in state government to be better partners for you in making our shared vision of a stronger and fairer New Jersey a reality, we need to ensure stability, sustainability, and predictability. Smart planning begins with fiscal responsibility. I put my money where my mouth is and spent the entire day yesterday sitting with the three big credit rating agencies. This is why doing the hard work to find a total of more than $1.1 billion in long-term savings that are repeatable year after year, why that matters so much. It's why our elimination of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund raise, for example, is so important. Thank you. And I hope our friends outside hear this. That's why putting $70 million from the Clean Energy Trust Fund back to work investing in clean energy matters. That is why investing more directly into NJ Transit to the tune of another $100 million matters. It is about ensuring a better deployment of our dollars. It means more for infrastructure and education, among so many other areas. This is the kind of thinking that we had gotten away from. For example, while the previous administration was awarding $11 billion in corporate incentives, New Jersey was stuck at 42nd in the nation in job growth and 49 in wage growth. That's out of 50, by the way. Why? Because we weren't strategic in how we built our programs. And I say we weren't strategic. There is a role for tax incentives. In fact, Tim Sullivan and his team have worked with us and now with the legislature to unveil a new generation, five-pillared set of incentives that will take us to where we want to get to. You know, our spiritual leader in this is Wayne Gretzky. When he was asked why he was such a great hockey player, he said, because I go to where the puck is going, not to where it's been. We've been going to the well to where it's been for far too long. We want to take this economy and the incentives along with it to where we are going. And the other piece of this is, I use the word strategic. Tax incentives absolutely, particularly in this day and age, play a role in the broad set of tools in the toolbox that you present to families, to businesses, to either stay here or come here. But they're not the only tool. They are one of many. When we were putting all those billions of dollars out, we didn't think of the lost investment opportunities, the foregone investments, the opportunity costs per se, in education or mass transit, among other items, that would work alongside of the incentives that are just as, if not more important, to our economic growth. At the end of the last administration, we were putting out tax incentives at a rate of $162,000 per job. At the same time, Massachusetts was putting out incentives at the rate of $22,000 per job. And in life sciences, we had come through a period in particular, and to some extent in technology, where they had cleaned our clock. So you have to ask yourself, how can that be? And the answer is the adjacent investments that they were making, that we were not making, that are just as, if not more important, to a corporate decision as tax incentives, in particular into public education, mass transit, healthcare, quality of life more generally. Deepening the relationship, on the one hand, between the big research institutions of higher education into the real economy is a big element of their recipe for success. And I will tell you this morning, we've ripped pages out of their playbook, and we're going to apply the same recipe to the great state of New Jersey. We got scattershot in our deployment, so it's no surprise that we got such scattershot results. That's why we put such a focus on taking the longer view and thinking of the New Jersey we want to be in 5 or 10 years or beyond, not just this year or next year. It's why I signed an executive order for the Board of Public Utilities to create a new energy master plan to help us achieve our goals, again I repeat, of a 100% clean energy economy in New Jersey by the year 2050, backed by strategic deployment in particular, and the steps are already being taken, of offshore wind and solar. It's why the DEP is hard at work on a coastal resilience plan, so we can ensure the protection of our shore and our people in the face of climate change. It's why I signed an executive order requiring that environmental justice be part of our decision-making and policy-making processes. And it's why I put so much importance in my economic master plan, which I unveiled last October. This plan, in my opinion, is how we create the dynamic downtowns where new businesses will want to locate and where New Jerseyans will want to live. And there are many ways we can achieve this. One is to recreate our business incentive programs as catalysts for change. Instead of open-ended commitments, let's have smart and strategic programs that are tailored to our goals. I look at the agenda that you all have for the rest of the day, and I see how this can work. Across our cities and our countless vacant and abandoned lots and other underutilized properties, where new communities can rise, where the arts and culture can flourish alongside commercial, residential, and mixed-use development, and where green spaces can connect people while also helping with water regeneration. And importantly, we can do this in a way that honors the struggles of those who fought and stayed and ensures their place in our communities in the future. Many of these sites, by the way, lay in designated opportunity zones. And as a side note, I'm proud to be taking part in a forum on Monday, I believe, Tim, right? Hosted by the EDA, where we will further lean into the potential for our 169 opportunity zones, which are spread across 75 communities and all 21 counties. But in addition to our opportunity zones, our proposed NJ Aspire tax credit program can also be a catalyst for this transformation. NJ Aspire can also help bring mixed income and affordable housing in our suburbs, especially near mass transit. This can be wholly transformational for these communities as well. A few weeks ago, I was on one of my favorite streets in New Jersey, Spruce Street. It is a historic street in Patterson, lined with century-old former textile factories. These buildings shouldn't just be remnants of our past, but of our future. They speak to why we need a historic preservation tax credit program. We are just one of 15 states that don't currently have a historic preservation tax credit, and we're poorer for it. Consider that in 2017, there were only 7. Did anyone notice I have not said shut up and sit down yet, by the way? We are the biggest tent of any tent in America. So God bless us all, and I welcome everybody's opinions, even if we're not always on the same page. We are just one of 15 states that don't currently have a historic preservation tax credit, and we're poorer for it. Consider this, that in 2017, this is hard to believe, there were only 7 historic redevelopment projects undertaken across the entire state. 7, with total investments of only $1.1 million. Meanwhile, right next door in New York, which has a preservation credit, by the way, 71 projects put more than $1 billion of investment to work. Or on the other side, in Pennsylvania, 39 projects and more than $330 million. Or look at Kansas. That's right, Kansas. In the first 8 years after enactment of their historic tax credit, the state saw a more than 10-fold increase in projects and a doubling of total investments, not only over the previous 8 years, but over the previous 20 years. It's a good example, and this is the mindset Tim and his colleagues have, it's the mindset we have. These are good examples. NJ Aspire, twinned with the opportunity zones, is another example of stacking credits between what the federal government has to offer and what we can do in New Jersey. So you get a 1 + 1 = 3 torqued up reality, and God knows we need it. I look at Patterson, I look at Trenton, I look at Camden and Bridgeton and Plainfield. I see Mayor Knapp out there. All proud cities with historic building stocks. We don't need to bulldoze our past. We need to make it part of our future. That future also includes bringing innovative businesses into these new and reclaimed spaces. I've made no secret that I want us to reclaim our dominance in the innovation economy. We did once before. Bell Labs, Sarnoff Labs, life sciences, technology, ATT, telecommunication, and so on. And we can do it again. In my budget address a couple of days ago, I highlighted a medical device startup, Carbon 22, that is setting roots in Kearney Point, a former shipyard that has been repurposed for the innovation economy. If you haven't seen it, you got to go see it. It's extraordinary. I've seen the plans for the hub right here in New Brunswick, which would bring together partners in our higher education, healthcare, and life sciences communities under one roof. I've visited incubators and co-working spaces in Princeton, Asbury Park, and Jersey City. By smartly making our state the center of the startup world, in downtowns, by the way, not just distant research parks, we can grow our economy and generate the revenues we need to tackle more of our long-standing challenges, from funding our schools to investing in new water infrastructure to expanding access to mass transit and to providing new workforce development opportunities. But we can't build this New Jersey of tomorrow unless we reset our ability to invest in the needs of today. That investment must start from somewhere, which brings me back to the budget I put forward a couple of days ago. The budget may be a big document with bunches of numbers and thousands of pages, but in those numbers, we see the faces of New Jersey. When we invest in our public schools, we're investing in stronger communities and the kids who will be tomorrow's workforce. I'm making a big announcement this afternoon on educational funding and also the attainment of high school graduation rates over the last year in New Jersey. And it is something, without telling you everything, it's something we can be extraordinarily proud of. When we invest in NJ Transit, we're investing in commuters. But not just in commuters, we're also investing in our economic competitiveness. When we invest in clean energy, we're investing in resiliency and in the fight against climate change. The budget lasts for a fiscal year, but its impacts last far longer. That's why this budget matters, so we can take charge of our future. We all have our share of cynics who hear our ideas and shake their heads and they say, come on, this is New Jersey. That'll never happen. But we all know the truth. We know deep down that our ideas can indeed become reality. Why? because this is New Jersey. I thank you all for the opportunity to join you this morning. Thank you again to New Jersey Future for your terrific work. And thank you all for helping to change our state for the better. I hope you have a productive conference. I can't wait to continue working with you to move our state forward. And for the Irish out there, Erin Go Bragh. Thank you all.